In the following clip you're about to watch, Ali is alone late at night when she notices something through the sliding glass door that looks out over her pool. Already scared before she even gets close to the glass, her voice trembling as she tells her phone camera that something near the edge of the pool doesn't look right. But what unsettles her most isn't just the shape outside, it's her 4 dogs. 2 small, 2 large, all of them in the room with her, and not one of them is barking or growling, just standing there watching the glass alongside her in a silence that somehow makes everything worse. She turns on a light, then another, but the reflections keep blocking her view of whatever is crouching at the edge of the pool deck.
Estoy sola en la casa y volteo a la alberca y se ve que alguien anda ahí y me da miedo asomarme. Que se ve que alguien... Ay, no. Está alguien ahí en la orilla de la alberca, pero los perros no ladran, no hacen nada. Voy a prender la luz. No veo. No veo. Ya no se ve nada. ¿Ustedes también lo vieron? ¿Qué procede en estos casos? Creo que esta noche hasta el viento tiene miedo.
The shape is there, small, dark, hunched, motionless against the concrete. And then the wind chimes sound. She gasps, and by the time the camera finds the spot again, it's gone. She wonders aloud if it was just a bird that flew away, and that would be easier to accept if the figure hadn't looked so deliberately still. The kind of motionless that belongs to something that chose to stop rather than something that simply landed. The dogs are the detail that lingers most. In paranormal research, animals going completely quiet in the presence of something unknown carries a specific weight. Certain traditions suggest that some presences operate outside the range of what an animal's instincts know how to categorize, producing not barking, but stillness, not aggression, but a kind of shared, suspended attention. In Latin American folk tradition, presences near water at night are associated with threshold spaces, the boundary between the lit interior and the open dark, between the surface of still water and whatever exists beneath it. So what do you think? Did Ali's dog stay quiet because whatever was out there wasn't a threat, or because it was something none of them, human or animal, had the right category for? In this next clip, a woman was hired to do late-night decorating at a hospital for an early morning event. Put in a solitary wing where she could work comfortably, the nurses on duty, far from where she was, completely alone in a section of the building that had been empty when she arrived, and walked those hallways herself to confirm it. And then she starts hearing a baby crying. There is no baby in that wing. She checked those hallways. The sound drifts through the corridor in a way that doesn't have a source she can locate. Mournful, drawn out, repeating, shifting at points into something that sounds more distinctly like a child sobbing. And then a sudden violent bang cuts through everything and the crying goes completely silent, as if whatever was making that sound simply stopped the moment it was interrupted. In Latin American folklore, that specific combination, a woman or child crying in an empty space at night with no visible source, is one of the most immediately recognized descriptions of La Llorona, a figure deeply embedded in Mexican and Central American tradition, said to wander at night weeping for her lost children, heard long before she's ever seen, her cries carrying through corridors and open spaces the way this one did. Hospitals carry their own particular weight in paranormal research, locations where grief, loss, and the transition between life and death are concentrated in the same walls over decades. The kind of accumulated emotional residue that some researchers believe is exactly what residual sound phenomena attach themselves to. A baby crying in an empty hospital wing at night with no explanation and no source sits at the intersection of both of those traditions in a way that's difficult to dismiss. So what do you think? Was something wandering that corridor that had no business being there? Or do those walls simply hold on to more than they're supposed to? The following video is about a man who first noticed something strange in a room he describes as his, a space decorated with books, porcelain dolls, and a tall green floor lamp that, according to him, has a habit of misbehaving. Every time he sits down in that room, the lamp begins to flicker. Not a slow fade, not a gradual dim, an erratic, intense strobe that stops almost the moment he acknowledges it. One night, he decided to grab his phone and catch it happening. Watch.
Where every time I come in here and sit down, this light starts flickering. Y'all doing that? Is that y'all? Oh, now stop. Okay. Funny.
Some people believe this is a textbook sign of an intelligent haunting, one where the presence isn't just wandering, but actually responding to the person in the room. Others point to the dolls specifically, noting that in paranormal circles, porcelain dolls are among the objects most commonly associated with attached entities, items said to act as anchors for spirits that don't want to leave. The timing is what's hard to argue away. Then things escalated. During the day, in the same property's garage, he came outside after hearing a noise and found the attic access door hanging wide open. But before he could even fully process what he was seeing, the door slammed shut on its own. 3 loud, forceful bangs, the spring-loaded hatch retracting hard against the ceiling.
Noise, and I came out here and this fucking door was open and now it just shut by itself. Light. What the fuck? Oh, it's scaring my freaking mind. Nobody up here. What the fuck?
He pulls the cord to reopen it, climbs the ladder into the dark attic with his phone's light cutting through the dust, and finds absolutely nothing. No person, no animal, no explanation. A mechanism like that doesn't forceful fail on its own. Spring-loaded hatches open slowly or stick. They don't slam shut in 3 hard beats like something pushing from below. It didn't stop there. The attic door did it again, and this time he was determined to prove on camera that no one was hiding up there, causing it. He was standing in the garage when it happened. Watch.
What's going on out here? Oh my God. It happened again. All right, I'm gonna prove it to you this time. I'm gonna climb on top of the freaking car. I'm gonna prove to you there's nobody up there. Fuck. All right. Damn it. I'm gonna break my damn windshield. Okay, let me turn on my screen brightness. Oh, fuck. I'm climbing all the way up in here. I'm gonna prove to y'all. Oh, light works this time, thank God. Okay. There's nobody up here. There is nobody up here. Let's do a full 360. Everybody always thinks I've got somebody up here like freaking messing with the attic door. There's nobody up here.
Same garage, same hatch, same violent slam, and this time he climbs on top of his car to reach the ladder, pulls himself up into the attic, and does a full 360-degree pan of the space while still catching his breath, narrating the whole thing. Everybody always thinks I've got somebody up here messing with the attic door. The attic is empty, completely empty. Whatever is opening and slamming that hatch isn't doing it from inside. And if you're thinking there's a rational explanation, I'd love to hear it, because the footage doesn't offer one. That same night, he took his flashlight into the backyard, and what he found there was something else entirely. He spotted a tall, slender, pale figure standing inside the wooden gazebo at the far end of the yard, completely still, and according to him, semi-translucent, like you could faintly see the structure behind it through its body. He initially turned to go back inside, then changed his mind.
Can you see that? What the hell is that? And it kind of looks like it's see-through. Okay. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go back inside. I gotta see. It's gone. It's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. Oh, fuck. What was that noise? Oh my God. Oh my God. What the hell was that noise? It sounded like it was right behind me.
He walks out across the dark lawn toward the gazebo, and by the time he gets there, the figure is gone. He's standing in the empty structure, saying it's not there anymore, when a sharp, loud crack, like a large branch snapping, comes from somewhere in the darkness behind him. He runs, full sprint back to the house, fumbling with the door, locking it, and breathing hard on the other side. Some viewers immediately reached for the label of a shadow person or a white lady. Apparitions described in paranormal traditions as tall, pale, and stationary, often reported near outdoor structures or tree lines. Others think what he saw could have been a form of crisis apparition, something tied not to the location but to him specifically, which would explain why the activity inside the house and the figure outside seem to be part of the same escalating pattern rather than separate incidents. Whether the flickering lamp, the slamming attic door, and the pale figure in the gazebo are connected or just a string of unrelated events, one thing is clear. Whatever is happening in and around this property isn't staying in one place, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. In this next clip, a father is home alone with his two young daughters on what looks like a completely ordinary afternoon. Children's show in the background. older daughter on the couch, toddler wandering the living room in her little red heart outfit. Nothing about the scene suggesting anything is wrong. And then something near the doorway catches his attention, and he moves toward it fast, telling his older daughter to grab the toddler before he even has the camera fully up. Focus of the door.
¿A dónde vas, pa?
Ahorita vengo. Mami. Vete para allá, mami. Hija, agarra a la niña. Agarra a la niña. Por favor. Voy a ver algo.
Ven, mami.
Ahí espérenme afuera. Mi esposa no está y vean lo que se acaba de ver. Casi no me da tiempo de grabarlo, pero está bastante cañón.
Rapid, panicked Spanish, voice tight, explaining that his wife is away and something just stuck its head out from that doorway while his kids were playing feet away from it. The toddler starts crying in the background. His older daughter asks why from the other room, and he tells both of them to wait outside. The fear in his voice is the part that doesn't have an easy counter-argument, because that specific quality, the tight, controlled panic of a parent trying not to completely lose it in front of his children, is very difficult to manufacture. In paranormal research, humanoid figures that appear briefly in doorways or around corners and retreat the moment they're noticed are among the most commonly reported encounters across cultures, and the behavior itself, peeking, watching, withdrawing, suggests something with awareness, something that was observing that living room and the children in it and pulled back the moment it realized it had been seen. A doorway is a threshold, and in almost every tradition that has ever documented this kind of encounter, thresholds are where these things like to stand. So what do you think? Was something watching those little girls play, or did an ordinary shadow in a cluttered corner do the rest of the work on its own? In this next clip, Harry McClary is filming his wife standing in the entryway of their home in the middle of the day, staring up at the ceiling. Not in curiosity, but in the way you stare at something when you're trying to figure out if it's about to get worse. For over 20 seconds, a series of loud, heavy, rhythmic thumps has been shaking through the house, striking roughly once per second with no visible cause and no sign of stopping. Harry moves through the entryway and up toward the staircase, panning toward the ceiling, then rushing up toward a closed wooden door at the top of the landing, the direction the sounds seem to be coming from. Watch. Polski. The thumping continues the entire time, consistent in volume and pace, methodical in a way that rules out anything settling or shifting. And then it cuts off the moment their small black dog runs up the stairs, and you hear Harry say firmly, "No, Kevin, stay back." That instinct is what most viewers point to, because he wasn't warning the dog away from a sound. He was warning him away from whatever was making it, which implies he already had some sense of what was up there, or at least enough of a sense to know Kevin shouldn't get any closer. The door at the top of those stairs stayed closed. No one ever found the source. And this isn't the first time something like this has happened in that house, which shifts the weight of what you're watching from an isolated incident into a pattern. And patterns, in paranormal research, are always the more unsettling finding. A presence that returns to the same location produces the same kind of sustained, rhythmic disturbance and stops the moment something living gets too close, suggests something that is not only aware of its environment, but aware of who else is in it. So what do you think? Is there something at the top of those stairs that has made a habit of making itself heard? Or does that house have an explanation hiding somewhere behind that closed door? In the following clip you're about to watch, a Blink security camera mounted high on a wall captures something strange in the hallway of a home late at night. A teenager noticed his cat acting strange. Not the usual zoomies or chasing something across the floor, but deliberately trying to get his attention, persistent enough that he eventually did what you're apparently supposed to do when a cat leads you somewhere. He followed it. The cat takes him straight to his brother and sister's room, and he goes in. And then, after a few moments inside, he comes back out with an urgency that tells you everything you need to know about what he found in there. Not a slow walk, not a casual exit, but the kind of sprint that your body produces when your brain has already decided that whatever is behind you is not something you want to be near. Now, the camera doesn't show us what he saw inside that room, and honestly, that might be worse, because what he said he saw was a 7-foot-tall black figure standing in there, in his sibling's room, in a house where a cat apparently knew it was there before any person did. In paranormal research, animals consistently demonstrate awareness of presences that humans can't perceive, registering something in the electromagnetic or sensory range that we lost access to somewhere along the way. And a cat that leads someone directly to the room where an entity is standing isn't acting randomly, it's communicating. So what do you think? Was there something 7 feet tall waiting in that room? Or did the cat lead him somewhere? His imagination did the rest of the work. In this next clip, a night security guard is doing his rounds at work. Glass door in front of him. The kind of quiet, uneventful shift that makes up most of the job. He's been working this post long enough that he knows every sound and every shadow in that building, which is exactly why he started filming when he noticed something he couldn't explain. He flips the camera to the front-facing view, points it toward the glass door, and what he catches on the other side of that glass stops him cold. Watch.
Es solo un video. El video. ¿Alguien vio los dedos?
Right there at the handle of the door, fingers, visible through the glass, pressed against it from the outside, and then slowly, deliberately withdrawn, pulled back into the darkness, the way you'd pull your hand away if you suddenly realized you'd been seen. Not a smear, not a reflection, not light playing off the surface, fingers, with the kind of slow, intentional movement that puts them in a completely different category from anything environmental. And this isn't the first time he's noticed something at that door. He makes that clear. This is just the first time he had a camera running when it happened. In paranormal research, liminal spaces like building entrances, lobbies, and glass thresholds are considered hotspots for activity precisely because they exist between two states, inside and outside, safe and exposed, known and unknown. And whatever presses itself against that boundary isn't lost or wandering, it's probing. So what do you think? Is something testing that door from the other side? Or does this guard have a very human problem he hasn't fully accounted for yet? In this next clip, a woman is home alone in her apartment during the day when her doorbell rings. Not once, but repeatedly, with no one on the other side. She's filming on her phone, walking slowly toward her front door, and you can already hear in the way she moves that this isn't her first time dealing with something like this. Her voice, cautious at first, calls out in French, asking if anyone's there. The hallway outside is completely empty. She checks the staircase. Nothing. Watch.
Y a quelqu'un? Putain, ça va pas commencer comme ça, tout le temps, j'en ai plein le cul.
The doorbell rings 3 times across less than a minute, and each time she opens that door, there's no one there. Not in the hallway, not on the stairs, not anywhere she can see. By the second ring, she sounds exhausted, muttering in French that she's sick of this, that she can't keep going through it. That detail is telling. This isn't shock. It's someone who's been worn down by repetition. Then the third ring hits, and the camera jerks violently as she lets out a sharp, terrified scream. There's something about the third ring that breaks her completely, maybe because she'd already confirmed the space was empty, and it rang anyway. Some believe this kind of recurring, disembodied doorbell activity is consistent with what paranormal researchers call a poltergeist, an entity associated less with haunting a location and more with directing its energy toward a specific person, often escalating over time. Skeptics would say a faulty wireless doorbell could explain it. But a faulty doorbell doesn't explain why she sounds like someone who's been fighting this battle alone for a very long time. So what do you think she's actually dealing with? The following videos appear to be captured by a group of men conducting what looks like a paranormal investigation inside a cluttered, dimly lit room, the kind of space that already feels charged before anything unusual happens, with old stained walls, worn furniture, and objects arranged almost as if they've been placed there intentionally. The men are speaking Romanian throughout, and at one point, one of them can be heard reciting what sounds like a religious confession, solemn, almost liturgical, which sets a tone that's hard to shake. Watch.
Mărturisesc că sunt vinovat focului de veci, viermilor neadormiți. Uai de mine! Uai de mine, ce-a fost asta? Ui, să învârtească! Uai de mine, ai văzut? Doi, să învârtească! Mamă, frate, ce-a fost asta? Uite așa să învârtească! Vai de mine, dacă l-am... Vai, Leo, ce-a fost asta? Mamă, frate, am prins-o pe cameră, jur. Ui, hai-te, mai că... Viermilor neadormiți. Uai de mine! Uai de mine, ce-a fost asta?
A wooden chair in the adjacent room violently tips over backwards with a loud crash, with no visible person anywhere near it, and the men immediately erupt into panicked shouting, one of them yelling that the chair spun on its own, another asking what on earth just happened. The slow motion replay makes it even harder to dismiss, because you can see the full arc of the movement with nothing and no one initiating it. Some viewers think the prayer being recited at the exact moment of impact is the most unsettling detail, not because it's evidence of anything specific, but because it raises the question of whether something was already being invited in before the camera was even rolling. In Romanian folk tradition, reciting confessions aloud in a spiritually charged space is sometimes believed to provoke a response from entities that feed on guilt or unresolved spiritual debt. And if that chair moving was the beginning, what came next suggests it was far from over. Not long after, the activity shifted from a single object to something far more chaotic.
Gata, gata, adă farfurile repede. Adă repede farfurile. Adă repede, fac, gata, opriți tot. Uite, 2 căni, da. Gata, opriți-vă. Opriți înregistrarea. Cu plăcere, da, da. Băi, băi, băi.
2 white ceramic mugs are violently thrown from a cabinet on the far side of the room, one shattering completely on the floor, sending shards and reddish liquid across a striped rug. And then just as the men start to collect themselves, a second loud bang sends another object flying, one of them saying it struck his leg. The men's dialogue is raw and unfiltered, someone telling them to stop recording, another voice responding, possibly from a device in the room, with pleasure. That detail alone stopped a lot of viewers cold. Whether it came from a spirit box or an electronic device picking up a stray signal, nobody has been able to confirm it. But the pattern is hard to ignore. First a chair, now mugs, thrown with enough force to shatter and injure, which is exactly the kind of escalation poltergeist activity tends to follow, starting with isolated movements and progressing steadily toward objects making contact with people. The men's reactions, the way they scramble, the way one of them just says, "Enough, stop everything," don't read as performance. They investigated anyway. Watch closely.
Îndrăznind aler la milostivirea ta cu frică și cu cutremur. Cu cutremur, mă. Ia! Cât am greșit ție. Băi, fii atent. Vai de capul meu. Ia, că-o căzut tot. Ia, că-o căzut tot bastoanele, o căzut tot, băi, omule, băi. Ia bastonul. Ia bastonul din smântână, de unde? Că nu mai este niciun baston nimic. Gata e. E gata e. Ia vezi de și pune poate. Vezi? Aici. Nu ai mă, să dea draci dacă e ceva, tu ești nebun. Azi voi acolo la bastonul ăla. Lasă un fiz de lumea. Nu ai frate niciun baston nimic. Iar este, bag lumina pe partea asta. Na. Bagă și după aia, bagă și după asta. Na, că nu-i nimic. Nimic, a? Nimica, frate, eu dispărut bastonul, iar gata. Și de desubt acolo? Nimic. Nici acolo nimic. Uite păpușa asta deșurată. Și eu preotul. Bă, uitați-o cu dulapul cum se mișcă singur, mă, frate, tu ești nebun. Ah! Unde-s, măi? Că nu-i niciun baston. Uite. Uite țăpă ăsta, uite. Niciun baston, nimic. Uite. 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 Uite, cade bila jos, acum. Uite dulap, care se mișcă singur, uite, nu-i legat cu nimic, uite. Uite. Voi sunteți nebuni, băi? Băi, noi când v-am zis că... Băi, nu mai există, gata, încăpere. Nu mai există încăpere, ca să știți. Noi suntem numărul 1, suntem. Hai de mine, ce-a fost asta? Ce-a fost asta? E jale, mâncați așa. Stay calm. Stay calm. Stay calm. Calm down. O-dat, cu ce-o dat. Hai, Aureo, și stați calmi. Gata, terminat-o, hai. Stay calm. Adu bastonul ăsta înapoi. Trebuie să fac carte aici, sunt portal, îmi trebuie. Portalul îmi trebuie. E sub dulap baston.
Objects on a small wooden cabinet begin vibrating and sliding on their own before two walking canes propped against the wall are forcefully thrown to the floor. Then the entire cabinet jolts and shakes as if grabbed from beneath, and a sharp, unexplained bang erupts from somewhere off camera, sending the men stumbling backward. One of them mentions closing a portal, which suggests they weren't just observing, but had been actively attempting some form of spiritual communication beforehand. And if something had been deliberately summoned, the escalating violence of these responses starts to feel less like random activity and more like something reacting with increasing irritation. The missing cane is arguably the strangest detail. Investigators can only account for one of the two that fell, and despite searching the area thoroughly, the second one never turns up on camera. A quiet footnote that somehow lands harder than the chaos around it. So what do you think? Was this group of men simply documenting a haunted space, or did they walk into that room and wake something up that had no interest in being observed? In this next clip, a woman is home alone at night, or at least she believes she is, when she notices something standing behind the frosted glass panel of her bathroom door. She's filming on her phone, her voice dropping to a hushed, anxious whisper as she explains in Spanish that she can see the shape from where she's standing, but the phone's reflection keeps getting in the way. She says she literally can't go to the bathroom in peace because of whoever or whatever is there. Then she moves through the house, down a dark hallway with light cutting in from a room at the far end, before showing her bedroom to prove a point. Watch.
De acá lo veo, pero el celular le da el reflejo. Literalmente no puedo ir al baño tranquila porque está él. Y no hay nadie en la casa. Nadie de nadie está en la casa.
Through the textured glass of that door, you can make out a dark, humanoid silhouette, a head and shoulders, motionless, standing just on the other side. She walks the camera through the rest of the house, showing an empty bedroom, an unmade bed, no one anywhere. No one is in the house, she says. No one at all. That tension between what she sees and what should logically be there is hard to shake. Some viewers think it's a shadow cast by an object or a trick of the light bouncing off the frosted glass. Others aren't so sure because the shape is too specific, the rounded head, the width of the shoulders, to easily dismiss. That alone is unsettling. But what makes the second clip arguably worse is how calm everything is before it happens. Her and her husband are in bed watching television, relaxed, covered in blankets when this happens.
En el mejor de los casos, la hemorragia se absorbe. No continúa la hemorragia y hará que el cerebro se inflame. ¿Qué significa eso?
The blanket covering the man's left shoulder is suddenly yanked downward with a sharp, forceful tug. Fast, violent, and completely without explanation. And a distinct swooshing sound goes with it. He flinches immediately, looking down toward his right. She turns her head in the same direction. There's no one else in the frame. Some believe what was caught is classic poltergeist behavior, physical interference with objects in an otherwise calm domestic space, the kind of activity that tends to escalate when ignored. Skeptics will point to the static camera and suggest it was staged, but the couple's reaction is immediate and looks genuinely startled. Whether these two clips are connected or not, they both carry the same unsettling thread, the idea that something might be sharing a space that's supposed to be private. And like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. What would you do if you started seeing shapes behind closed doors in your own home? In the following clip you're about to watch, a roadside security camera captures a motorcycle traveling down a semi-rural stretch of road at dusk, headlight on, normal speed. Nothing about the scene suggesting anything is wrong. And then a collision. Both men go down hard on the asphalt and stay there, completely motionless. But then something gets up and walks away. Watch. There for a moment, and then simply gone, while both men remain on the ground where they fell. In paranormal research, this falls into one of the rarest and most debated categories of footage: the possible capture of a soul departing the body in the immediate aftermath of death, consciousness leaving in the only way it knows how. Still moving, still going somewhere, completely unaware that the body it belonged to is no longer getting up. The figure doesn't linger, doesn't look back, doesn't seem to register what just happened. It just walks, the way someone walks when they think they're still alive and still have somewhere to be. That detail is the one that's hardest to sit with, because it suggests that whatever left that body in those first moments had no idea it was leaving for good. So what do you think? Did that camera capture the last independent movement of someone who didn't know they had just taken their final ride? Or is there another explanation for what walked away from that crash? In this next clip, a woman lost her mum a week before this was recorded, and on this particular night, her elderly Labrador is sitting beside her, and the dog won't stop staring at the corner of the room. Watch. The dog holds its gaze there for nearly the entire clip, head raised, alert, mouth opening periodically to lick the air, completely still in the focused, unwavering way that animals get when they've locked onto something their owner can't see or hear. It doesn't bark, doesn't move, doesn't look away. And the woman filming believes she knows exactly who her dog is looking at. In paranormal research, and honestly across most cultures that have ever documented grief and loss, the period immediately following a death is considered the window where contact is most likely, a soul still tethered enough to the people and places it loved to find its way back one last time before whatever comes next. Dogs occupy a unique position in that conversation because their sensory range operates so far outside human perception that what registers to them as a clear, locatable presence can be completely invisible and inaudible to the person lying right next to them. This dog isn't reacting to a sound from outside, isn't startled by movement. It's fixed on a specific point in that room with the calm, certain attention of an animal that has found something rather than one that's searching for it. A week after losing her mom, in a bedroom that probably still carries the particular weight that spaces hold after someone close is gone, her dog found something in the corner worth watching. So what do you think? Was her mom stopping by one last time, or is there another explanation for what that dog spent the night looking at? The following videos were all recorded inside the same 1920s house, a place that, based on everything caught on camera here, seems to have a serious problem with staying quiet. The decor alone sets the tone before anything even happens. Taxidermy foxes on windowsills, crucifixes on the walls, candlelit dining rooms, antique clocks ticking in dim hallways. It's the kind of home that already feels like it belongs to something other than the people living in it. And according to whoever is filming, it isn't just atmosphere. The activity started small, the kind of thing you might explain away on any given day. But over the course of these clips, it stopped being small very quickly. Watch.
Here we go. More knocking noises. What is going on? Hello? Hello? Who is here? Make yourself known. Go on. Where are you? There's knocking from the living room. It's from the living room, that. Hello? Come on. You've done a few things today, haven't you? Whoa, okay, TV's on. Thank you, did you do that? Okay, calm down. Right, it's the atmosphere in here is insane. What the hell? Oh my god, the atmosphere is crazy. It's cold, it feels weird. Oh my god, I don't like it. Hey buddy, you okay? What? Oh my god, the chairs. Oh, are you seeing this? I am telling you now, there is nobody in this house except me. My partner's gone to his mum's, the chairs are on the table. He's gone his mum's. I'm just about to head out myself. I'm gonna have to pick this up. Oh, shit. Oh my god, I'm just about to head out. Thank God. What?
In the middle of what looks like a routine walkthrough of the house during the day, the television in the living room switches on completely by itself, displaying its boot-up screen with no one anywhere near it. Moments later, the chandelier overhead flickers on, cuts out, then flickers again erratically. And when the camera makes it to the dining room, the reason for the walkthrough becomes obvious. One of the heavy, dark wood dining chairs is balanced on top of another, stacked seat to seat in a way that shouldn't be physically possible. while a third chair lies overturned on the floor entirely. These aren't lightweight objects. The filmer reaches in and touches both chairs, demonstrating they're solid and real. That alone is unsettling. What makes it harder to dismiss is the fact that nobody in the footage seems to know when it happened or what caused it. The term that gets attached to activity like this, objects rearranging, lights behaving on their own, is poltergeist, a word that comes from the German meaning noisy ghost or rumbling spirit, and the label fits in more ways than one here. Poltergeist cases in the historical record tend to involve exactly this kind of physical disruption. Furniture moved, objects thrown or displaced, lights affected, the environment itself behaving as though something is interacting with it. That night, the house apparently wasn't finished. Listen closely.
Right, these two guys are going absolutely crazy. What is it, boys? Oh, sorry. What's wrong? What is it? What is it? Are you okay? I don't know what it is. What's wrong, Will? God, it's cold in here. What is it, boys? What's wrong? Oh my god. The cat cannot knock that over. Is somebody in here with me? Hello? Hello? What the heck, Pumpkin? What's wrong? Oh my god, it's so cold. Hey, Will. What's doing that? Whoa, are you seeing this? Boys, what is going on? These two are acting really weird as well. Why are you here? If it's you doing this, you need to prove it. Okay. That's just swung again. Are you seeing this? What? What the hell? Oh my god. Come on, let's go. This house is insane. I cannot believe it. And for anybody who's even remotely skeptical at some of the things going on in here, I cannot make cats be actors. So you might have heard me say on videos a few times now, they all start acting strange before anything happens. And well, you're seeing that. They would mithering me and leading me into the dining room. Oh, another one's joined us. Can you sense something's going on, love? I know. Okay, whatever that means. I'll get to the bottom of it, my love. Jesus. All clear in here.
A single bulb on the chandelier in the darkened dining room begins to flash and flicker wildly, strobing in the darkness with no one visible near any light switch. The man in the green robe appears in a mirror reflection shortly after, clearly reacting to what's been happening around him. His gestures expressive even if his exact words are difficult to make out. The kind of reaction that comes from someone who's been watching their own home behave strangely for too long. One of the orange cats sits on the stairs and meows into the quiet, which, given what follows in the next clip, starts to feel less like coincidence. Daytime didn't bring any calm. Watch.
I'm just about to have my morning brew and these two are trying to get my attention again. What is it? Do you want, mate? Are you playing up again? It's something past 7. hell? I've literally got my suit ready to go. That's how early it is in the morning. What is it, boys? They always start acting up the clown when there's something about to go on. And they've been hitting at my legs to try and get me to... What the hell? Are you hearing this? Just banging? I would appreciate it if whatever is going on in here, you stop trying to destroy my things. What do you want? You can see something. I know you can. You can, can't you? That's moving. Well, I think it got banged. What do you want? Give it a break. Boys, stop fighting. See, they don't do this. Something's upset them. What is it, boys? Come on. Oh, wow. Here we go with the coldness. The corridor's freezing. Most importantly, I have to get ready and go out for the day. What do you want, is this Edith? The lady who's came through before? Hello? Where are you? Hello? What do you want? Are you in here? Show yourself. There's nobody here, see? What on earth?
After a slow tour through the same house in natural daylight, the camera documents something that raises the stakes considerably. The front door, which had reportedly been left locked, is now standing wide open, revealing the driveway and the cars outside. Nobody opened it. Nobody was near it. The 3-minute and 25-second gap between the last shot of the hallway and the discovery of the open door is marked by a time skip, leaving exactly what happened in between entirely unexplained. Skeptics would point out that an open door is one of the easiest things to stage, and that's a fair argument. But taken alongside everything else documented in this house, the stacked furniture, the flickering lights, the television turning itself on, the open door starts to feel less like a coincidence and more like a pattern. Something in this house appears to be interacting with its physical environment in a very deliberate way. And then the cats started acting up again.
Right, guys, I'm putting the phone out. These have been meowing like crazy by the bedroom door, like crashing into it as if trying to get my attention. What is it? What you want? Something going on? Hey? Hey? Come on. What's going on? What is it, guys? Whoa, it's cold in here. Hey, what is it, buddy? Oh, what the hell? Oh my god. Yep, good idea. What the hell was that? Hello? Is anything in here? Hello? Show yourself. What? Are you doing this? Oh my god! There's like a wind. Oh my god, what is that? What is that? The room is so frigging cold as well. Come here, guys. Come here, guys. What? Look, it's swinging. I have not been near it. There's nobody else here. I'll show you as best I can. What? None of this makes any sense. How can this stuff be happening? What? What fell? What is that? What?
During a daytime walkthrough, the two orange cats are heard and seen in obvious distress, meowing loudly and insistently, leading their owner through the hallway as though trying to get him to follow. He remarks that the living room is cold. Then a loud bang sends the camera whipping toward the fireplace, where a picture frame has just fallen from the mantle with no visible cause. The curtains by a closed window begin to billow and move violently, as though caught in a strong, localized wind with no source. A door somewhere off camera slams shut. The chandelier in the center of the room is swinging back and forth with enough force that he reaches up to steady it with his hand, stating clearly that nobody else is home. A small potted plant then falls from a high surface, landing hard on the floor. You can hear it in his voice, the way it shifts from cautious curiosity to something closer to real fear. He keeps asking the room what's happening, and the room keeps answering him. What none of these clips manage to explain is why the activity seems to escalate each time someone picks up a camera. The same house, the same rooms, the same objects, and each walkthrough uncovering something worse than the last. If this is a poltergeist in the traditional sense, some accounts suggest that kind of presence doesn't fade on its own. It tends to grow. So the question worth sitting with is this: what does it look like when it stops holding back? And would you still be in that house to find out? Like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. Some viewers have pointed out that the cats seem to sense things before the camera ever catches them, reacting to rooms, leading their owner toward whatever is about to happen next. If they're right, those cats know something about that house that nobody else in it is willing to say out loud. In the following clip you're about to watch, a man named Antonio is moving through the courtyard of an abandoned asylum at night, flashlight cutting through the dark, white-walled buildings, pressing in on either side, a bucket and broom sitting outside the entrance like whoever left them there didn't plan on coming back for them. What makes this different from a standard urban exploration video is the caption, "Antonio has been here before," which means this isn't someone stumbling into something unexpected, it's someone who already knows what this place feels like at night and chose to return anyway, and that distinction matters. He hesitates at the doorway, muttering to himself in Spanish, half talking himself in and half talking himself out before shifting into prayer, invoking the blood of Christ, commanding whatever is inside to stop before he's even seen anything yet, which tells you everything about what he was expecting to find in there. Watch.
Puta, no, chicos, esto está demasiado cargado, loco. Está de... ¡Ala, qué verga! ¿Qué? Vaya, ala, no sé, entro. Me dan ganas de entrar, se los juro, porque quiero... Pero... Ok. Nosotros venimos para esto. Nosotros venimos a grabar esto. Ok, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Tú no tienes poder aquí. Estoy bañado en la sangre de Cristo, ¿entendiste? Alto demonio, basta, detente. ¡Basta, demonio! Te ordeno que te detengas. ¡Basta! Puta madre. No, chica, la mierda, loco. Mira, esa tía se está moviendo. Uy, no me jodas, no me jodas. No, por un momento pensé que había alguien ahí dentro. Uy, no. Pensé que había alguien adentro, loco. Te lo juro que yo pensé que me iba a topar con alguien adentro. ¡Mierda!
The office chair just inside the doorway rolls backward several feet on its own, smooth, deliberate, covering real distance before stopping deep in the dark, and Antonio screams at it in Spanish, ordering it to stop. Then it rotates. No one is in that room. That movement isn't a drift, and it isn't an uneven floor. It moves with intention, and the timing is the detail most viewers can't get past, because the chair doesn't react while he's walking the path or standing in the courtyard. It moves in the exact window between the end of his prayer and the moment he steps through that doorway, as if whatever is in that room was listening to every word and waiting for him to finish. Abandoned asylums are considered some of the most residually saturated environments in paranormal research. Decades of fear and suffering absorbed into the architecture, compounding long after the building empties out. But residual energy doesn't respond to prayer, and that chair didn't drift, it waited. So what do you think? Was Antonio walking into a space thick with trapped energy, or did something in that asylum hear his prayer and decide to answer it? This next set of clips comes from a series of videos shared by the same man, recorded across multiple early morning hours, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sometimes pushing past dawn, all centered on the same claim, that La Llorona, the weeping woman of Mexican and Latin American folklore, had taken up residence in his home. For context, La Llorona is one of the most enduring figures in Hispanic tradition, a woman said to have drowned her own children in a fit of grief and rage, condemned to wander riverbanks and dark hallways forever after, wailing for the souls she can never reclaim. Parents have used her name for generations to keep children from straying out at night. She is not a casual boogeyman, so when this man starts invoking her name at 5 in the morning, locked in his bathroom, it sets a certain kind of stage. Watch.
5:23 de la mañana, gente, ya está empezando a amanecer. Yo desde las 9 de la noche estoy metido acá en el baño. A mí no me jode. Acá recién pasó un ovni y mira acá está el duende, ¿eh? ¡Deja de estar golpeando! ¡No esté golpeando! ¡No esté golpeando! ¡No! ¡Ah, no! ¡Andate! Vos sos pelotudo, te parió un teletubi, idiota, ¿eh? ¡Andate!
What you just heard was a man who claims he's been trapped in his bathroom since 9 the previous night. That's roughly 8 hours. While something on the other side of that door bangs, throws objects into the room, and refuses to let him leave. A roll of toilet paper, then a pink bottle, both sailing in from just off camera, and his response is to hurl a small trash can toward the door and yell back in rapid, panicked Spanish. Skeptics will immediately point out that everything thrown enters the frame from just off screen, exactly where a second person standing beside the camera could be standing. Others think the 8-hour detail is what makes it harder to dismiss entirely. Who sets up that kind of backstory for a joke? The build-up that follows across the next few clips starts to paint a stranger picture. In the second recording, made around 5:20 a.m., as dawn was just beginning to bleed through the window, the same man grabs what appears to be a long, thin stick and walks toward a darkened doorway. Listen closely.
5:20 de la mañana, gente. Está empezando a amanecer. Miren lo que es. Miren, ahí está el reloj. Y para los que no creían en la Llorona, miren, me desperté por los lamentos de esta. Pero no vinimos acá para estar teniéndole miedo. Venimos a darle al fandom lo que siempre busca. Mamoncita, no, mamoncita. ¿Con que te vas a venir a esconder? No te piando. No esté piando. Levandum nerviosa. ¿Dónde estás? Salí. De donde quieras que estés, maldita. ¿No te das cuenta que ya nos cansaste con los pelos parados? Siempre lo mismo. Acá, se escuchó el ruido. Espectro. Baboso.
There's a dark shape visible in the doorway, vaguely humanoid, standing still, appearing to shift or retreat as he moves toward it. His approach is anything but afraid though. He taunts it in Spanish, recites what sounds like a parody of a magic spell, dares it to come out, and calls it a slimy spectre while making lightsaber sounds with his mouth. The comedic framing is deliberate, and it undercuts the eeriness of that figure in the doorway almost immediately. But here's the thing, the shape is there, and it does move. Whether that's a person, a shadow, or something else is genuinely difficult to say given the low light and shaky footage. By the third recording, made at 4:31 a.m. during a rainstorm, he's carrying a small wicker Christmas tree ornament and once again pointing his camera down a hallway toward a partially open door. Watch.
4:31 de la mañana, gente. Está lloviendo, miren lo que es. Y les voy a mostrar la Llorona. Y quiero que ustedes saquen su captura de pantalla. Acá tengo el arbolito navideño del económico, nomás de este que te regalan en cualquier basurero. Miren lo que es. Miren lo que es. Miren lo que es. Miren lo que es. Y no tiene pies, Miren lo que es. Pero acá no vinimos a tenerle miedo, gente. Acá vinimos a darle al verdadero fandom lo que siempre busca. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Por qué no salís? No, porque atrás de la puerta, puede esconderse atrás de la puerta. ¿Por qué no salís? ¿Por qué no salís? ¿Querés que te encanten los Jingle Bells? ¿Querés que te cante? Siempre lo mismo contigo, ¿no? Siempre apostando a que no te das, que sí, que te tengo miedo, ¿no? ¿Quieres asustar al próximo, digo, Tengo el arbolito económico del económico acá. ¿Por qué no sales? ¿Por qué no sales de donde estás? Acá se escucha ruido. ¿Dónde estás? No te piando.
The figure standing in that dark gap is tall, slender, and completely motionless, and he claims it has no feet, though the bottom of whatever it is stays out of frame. He rushes in anyway, lights come on, and he spends the rest of the clip searching a cluttered bedroom, yelling challenges, offering to sing jingle bells, demanding the entity show itself. No audio anomaly is captured. Nothing moves on its own, and yet that initial image in the doorway, static, dark, upright, keeps nagging at you. The fourth clip was filmed at 2:21 a.m., the coldest and darkest of the bunch, and the tone shifts. Watch closely.
2:21 de la mañana, gente. Yo les voy a mostrar lo que es la Llorona. Está haciendo 2 grados bajo cero. Allá está el reloj, las 2:21 de la mañana. Miren lo que es. Miren. Saquen sus capturas de pantalla. Miren, no te piando. Los seguidores me pidieron que diga esta frase. Padre nuestro. Escuchen. ¿Dónde estás? Vení, salí acá. Tienen que tener cuidado, gente, que no le pique. Tienen que tener cuidado que no le vaya a picar, gente. Allá está, miren, atrás de la ventana, no estoy piando. ¿Por qué no venís acá? ¿Por qué no venís a pararte de mano, ¿Por qué no venís a pararte de mano? Te voy a hacer volver de donde viniste. Agarrá y andate, mal peinada.
Right after he shouts a prayer, Padre Nuestro, a high-pitched wailing scream erupts from somewhere off camera. It's sharp and unmistakable, the kind of sound that would make the hair stand up on your neck. He immediately yells for anyone watching to listen, and his breathing goes ragged and panicked in a way that feels less theatrical than the earlier clips. That scream is the closest any of these recordings get to the La Llorona mythos directly. Her legend is built entirely around that sound, a woman's wail near dark spaces and doorways in the small hours of the morning. Skeptics argue it's a sound effect dropped in during editing, and the timing, perfectly synchronized with the prayer, is almost too convenient. But if you were standing in that house at 2 a.m., you might not stop to consider the editing timeline. The fifth and final recording, made at 4:33 a.m., takes the whole series in a direction that's harder to categorize. Watch.
4:33 de la mañana, gente, ya está empezando a amanecer. Miren lo que son los pollitos, cómo ya están cantando. Y a la gente que no cree en la Llorona, miren lo que es eso. Miren lo que es, cómo se está moviendo para todos lados, como que parece que tiene Parkinson ahí. Pero acá no vinimos a tenerle miedo, vinimos a darle al fandom lo que siempre busca. A ver. Con que escondiéndose, No. Acá te mando una nudu, por la duda. Y te mando otro regalo por si te querés venir a vivir acá. Siempre lo mismo con vos. Te voy a traer un acondicionador. A ver si te pones un poco en el pelo, porque las veces que vengo acá tenés los pelos parados. ¡Ridícula! Te reprendo en el nombre de todos los santos que pueden haber en el mundo. Siempre lo mismo con vos. Yo me miré todos los capítulos de las Tortugas Ninjas.
Taken together, what this series actually represents is genuinely difficult to pin down. 5 videos that oscillate between something that might be a real experience and something that might be elaborate, deliberately funny performance art built around one of the most potent figures in Latin American folklore. Whether or not La Llorona has anything to do with any of it, you be the judge. The following video was recorded inside an unfinished house during what appeared to be a routine walkthrough. A man moving through empty rooms, checking around corners, calling out into the silence the way most of us probably would if we felt like something was off. The house is under active construction, tools and paint cans scattered across the floors, new cabinets still waiting to be finished, a dark concrete staircase leading down into a basement that he approaches cautiously from the very first frame. He keeps calling out, "Hello? Anybody here?" Moving from room to room, his footsteps loud on the new wood-look flooring, the whole place feeling oddly tense despite being completely empty. Then something small happens first. A long piece of metal trim, balanced on the edge of the kitchen island, begins to slowly slide and drops to the floor with a soft thud, just enough to make him stop. He says, "What the heck is that?" and edges toward a bedroom doorway, still calling out, "Watch."
Hello? Hello? Anybody here? Hello? Hello? The heck is that? Hello? Who is it?
What follows is a sequence that's hard to process even on a second viewing. Two loud, sharp bangs erupt from off camera. Then an interior hallway door slams shut with violent force. And not slowly, not drifting, but snapping shut as if something threw it. Seconds later, the basement door slams shut behind him. He shouts, "Who is it?" And then a metallic clanging sound starts from inside that now closed basement. He screams and runs, dropping the phone completely, leaving the camera on the floor pointing up at the ceiling. And then an enormous crash erupts from somewhere above, like something structural gave way or was thrown. The camera sits there alone for over a minute, and then something weird happens. The phone spins by itself. After a while, he comes back, out of breath and visibly shaken, to pick up his phone. Some viewers have argued The metal trim sliding was a natural event, precarious placement, vibration from footsteps, but the door slamming sequence is harder to dismiss. Poltergeist activity, according to many paranormal researchers, often follows exactly this kind of pattern. Not one event, but a rapid chain of them, as if something is escalating deliberately, pushing harder each time it's acknowledged. The second clip picks up somewhere similar in energy. At nighttime, in what appears to be a residential home, a man moves through the house with his phone, checking each room: a downstairs bedroom, a cluttered room, a laundry area, then down into a basement living space. You can hear a cough, a creak, the ambient quiet of a house at night. Then at 43 seconds, every light in the house goes out at once. Listen closely. What he finds when he makes it back upstairs is what stops you cold. The refrigerator door is standing wide open. A wooden dining chair has been placed on top of the table. A framed picture on the wall is now hanging at a severe angle. And in the kitchen, a large knife is standing upright, blade stabbed down into a cutting board. None of those things were like that before he went downstairs. The sound design throughout this clip, a low droning hum, a high-pitched screech when the lights cut, does feel added, and the progression of reveals follows a structure that's almost too clean, too cinematic. Some viewers called it staged almost immediately. But here's the thing, the knife in the cutting board, standing perfectly upright, is the kind of image that stays with you regardless of what you believe about it. In poltergeist cases, sharp objects being positioned or moved deliberately is one of the most documented and most disturbing categories of reported activity, with some traditions interpreting it as a specific kind of threat, not random chaos, but something intentional and directed. Whether both of these clips represent genuine events or carefully constructed moments, the pattern they share is unmistakable. A house that seems quiet, a man alone, and then everything happening at once. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you're enjoying watching this video, like and subscribe. Because in both cases, whatever the explanation, neither man stuck around long enough to find out what came next. In the following clip you're about to watch, it's 3 a.m. inside a family home, completely quiet, nothing unusual in the air, and then, just before everything breaks loose, a distorted electronic sound begins bleeding through the silence. Something like a voice caught between static and dead frequencies, faint enough to almost dismiss. And then this happens. That distorted voice, cutting through the silence, right before it all broke loose, is the detail that sits with you longest. Because in paranormal research, electronic interference immediately preceding a visual manifestation is considered one of the stronger indicators of an intelligent presence drawing on electromagnetic energy to make itself visible, pulling from whatever power source is available in the environment right before it crosses the threshold into something the human eye can register. A presence that announces itself through static before it appears is one that understands the mechanics of its own manifestation, which puts it in a very different category from something residual or passive. In multiple documented cases, this exact sequence, distorted audio followed by a visual apparition, has been associated with entities that are not only intelligent but deliberate. Ones that choose the hour, choose the location, and choose who sees them. 3 in the morning, a dark hallway, and something that let the static go first. So what do you think? Was that voice the sound of something gathering enough energy to finally be seen, or a warning that nobody in that house was meant to hear? In this next clip, a woman describes what she believes she caught on a family sleigh ride in Deer Valley, a nighttime outing through snowy, wooded mountains with her husband, 2 kids, and 2 sleigh drivers. That's it. No one else around for miles. She says she considers herself spiritually aware, but this was the first time she had anything she could actually point to on camera. The clip itself is only a few seconds of ordinary family footage. Kids bundled under a blanket, dark trees rolling past, her husband smiling over at the camera. Nothing looks wrong at all. Listen closely.
I caught a mimic on camera pretending to be my child. And I know that sounds so crazy, but I'm about to play this video for you so that you can watch it yourself. And I consider myself pretty spiritually awake. I'm an intuitive, but this is the first time that I actually have physical evidence. And I've watched this video many times and I still have yet to come up with a rational or logical explanation as to what this voice is. In this video, my family and I are on a sleigh ride in Deer Valley, and we are in the middle of the mountains. There is no one around us. The only people on this sleigh are me, my husband, the 2 children that you see, and the 2 drivers, who are 2 grown men. Yet in the first 5 seconds of the video, you clearly hear a loud voice that says, "Hello, Daddy." This voice is clearly not my daughter's voice because you can see her mouth in the video, it doesn't move. And some may argue that this voice is my son's voice because his mouth is covered up. But if you watch the video, you can see that my son starts speaking towards the end and it's very muffled. It's in complete contrast to this loud, crisp, clear voice that you hear in the beginning. And additionally, this voice seems to have like a weird British Victorian accent. I don't even know what kind of accent it is. And my son does not speak like that. But yeah, just watch this video and let me know what you think.
Hello, Daddy.
A little warmer over there.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, getting exercise. No, to my eye. Hello,
At around 1 minute and 34 seconds into the recording, a voice cuts through the ambient sounds of the moving sleigh, high-pitched, childlike, unmistakably clear, saying, "Hello, Daddy." The girl's mouth isn't moving when it happens, and if you focus on the boy, his voice later in the clip is completely muffled by his face covering, making it nearly impossible he produced something that crisp and theatrical. She describes the accent as having a strange, almost old-fashioned quality, not American, almost Victorian in its delivery. That description is what stops people in the comments. A mimic, in paranormal circles, refers to an entity believed to copy the voices or appearance of people close to you, sometimes a child, sometimes a family member, often in an attempt to get a response. And whatever spoke on that sleigh, it knew exactly what to say. In the following clip you're about to watch, a man has been documenting what he started calling the Shadow Man, an entity that has been making itself known in increasingly aggressive ways over a period of weeks, and by the time he started filming, the activity had already moved well past the point of easy dismissal. He'd been hearing scratching coming from the bathroom at night, set his phone on the floor to capture whatever was making it, and what showed up in the doorway is the kind of thing that reframes everything that came after. Watch.
So I've been hearing some strange noises coming from this bathroom. And so I'm going to set up this camera to record and see if we catch anything. I've never caught anything on camera before, so I'm hoping that this might be the first time, but kind of sounds like scratches.
A tall, dark, humanoid silhouette holds its position in the bathroom doorway. Not translucent, not misty, but darker than the space around it. The kind of solid absence that multiple cultural traditions describe in exactly the same way. A shadow that has taken on a shape and decided to stay in it. Some researchers connect phenomena like this to the concept of jinn in Middle Eastern folklore, entities believed to exist parallel to the human world and capable of appearing in darkened spaces. Whatever this was, it didn't move away. It stayed. That changed everything. In the days that followed, the activity didn't settle. It got louder. The man began sharing updates, and by the next one, he was no longer alone in noticing something was wrong. Listen closely.
Okay guys, I think I fucked up a little bit. Do you hear that? What the fuck is that? Charlie, cat's right here. She doesn't seem to be worried about it.
A persistent, rhythmic rattling and scraping sound fills the room, originating from the direction of a closed door and dresser just off camera, while his cat, completely alert, body rigid, sits on the bed and stares unblinking in the exact same direction. Animals don't perform unease. That cat's fixed, tense stare is the kind of corroboration that viewers always point to because it confirms the sound had a presence, a location, something the cat could sense even when the camera couldn't catch it visually. The rattling was continuous, stopping only when the man's visible distress peaked, as if whatever was doing it knew it had his full attention. By third update, he'd had enough. Sleep deprived and visibly worn down, he decided to confront it directly, walking toward the hallway camera in hand, telling whatever was there that it wasn't welcome anymore. Watch closely.
All right. I appreciate all the well wishes. I haven't been getting great sleep lately. I don't know if it's because of this, but I'm going to take your advice. It's been slamming the doors again this morning. I'm just going to tell it to get the fuck out of here. Okay? All right, this is it. You are not welcome here. You need to leave. We are done with your bullshit. We are not going to take it anymore, okay? You need to get the fuck out. No, this is fucking bullshit.
A human-shaped figure stands perfectly still in the lit doorway at the end of a dark hall, and then a low, guttural growl comes from its direction before the door slams shut with force, sending the man running toward it in alarm. A growl, not a creak, not a rattle, a growl. Skeptics will argue the audio was added in post, that the silhouette was a person standing just inside the bathroom, and the slam was timed for effect. But for viewers who'd been following this series from the beginning, this clip felt less like a scare and more like a response, the entity reacting to being told to leave. That distinction matters, because it shifts the nature of what's being described here from a passive haunting to something that listens, something that communicates on its own terms. And then came update 12. By this point, a full week had passed without significant activity, and then, one night, he heard whispering coming from the bathroom. Multiple voices, he says, overlapping, like a conversation happening just out of reach. He approached slowly in the dark, phone recording. Watch.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear this. I'm gonna try to be really quiet. I'm being really quiet. Is somebody in there?
Indistinct, layered whispering can be heard coming from the completely dark and empty bathroom. And when he finally asks out loud whether someone is in there, the whispering stops instantly and is replaced by loud, raspy, heavy breathing that sounds uncomfortably close to the microphone. He rushes in, flicks the light, pulls the shower curtain aside, and the bathroom is empty, no one there. What makes this harder to explain isn't just the sounds themselves, it's the responsiveness. The whispers stopped the moment he asked the question. Something in that bathroom was aware of him, tracking him down the hallway, and chose to change from voices to breathing the instant it was directly addressed. If you've been watching this series from the beginning, the pattern is impossible to ignore. Each update escalates, each event becomes more direct, more communicative, more confrontational. Whatever this man is living with, it's not fading. The question that keeps coming back is a simple one. If you told it to leave and it growled back at you, what exactly do you say next? This next video was recorded inside what appears to be a private home at night by a man who's been dealing with escalating paranormal activity. Not the subtle, easy to dismiss kind, but the kind that responds when you talk back to it. He's walking through the house with a camera, moving from a second floor landing down toward the entryway, speaking out loud to whatever might be listening, telling it, calmly but firmly, that it can't touch him, that God's protection is with him. And up to that point, the house answers back with sharp cracking sounds, loud pops, a chandelier moving, the kind of noise that could maybe be explained away if it weren't so relentless. Then a door slams violently, and he moves into one of the rooms to investigate.
You know I have the power and the protection of God with me, so you can't do anything else to me, can you? You can close doors, you can make noises, you can move the chandelier. Room. So my camera usually shuts off. Who are you? Who are you?
What you just heard isn't background noise. It's a building confrontation, a deep, disembodied groan, a heavy bang, and then a faint, raspy whisper that seems to directly answer when he asks, "Who are you?" Not with silence, but with the same question thrown right back at him. And then it erupts. Violent crashing, thuds, scraping, a chaotic wall of sound coming from somewhere just off camera with no visible source. Some people who've followed cases like this point to the escalation pattern as a key detail. The idea that whatever is in the house isn't passive, it's reactive. And it appears to intensify the more it's challenged or named. Skeptics will say the sounds could be post-production audio layered in for effect. But what's harder to dismiss is the man's real-time reaction, the heavy breathing, the startled questions, the moment where his voice shifts from confident to genuinely rattled. Whatever was in that house didn't seem satisfied with just being heard. Now, in a second clip from this same location, the same man turns his camera down a hallway from an upper landing, and he says something that sets the whole thing up. Every time I turn off the light, there's like a shadow in there. He wants someone else to confirm it.
Alright, tell me I'm on fucking crack. Every time I turn off the light, there's like a shadow there. Watch. See that? Fuck. What the fuck? Tell me I'm not on fucking crack, dude. No. What, dude?
When the light goes off, a tall, dark, featureless silhouette is standing motionlessly in the open doorway at the far end of the hall. When the lights come back on, it's gone. He walks toward it anyway. Then the light goes off a second time, and it's back, standing in the exact same spot, just as still, just as opaque. Some would call this a shadow person, a term used in paranormal communities to describe humanoid, dark figures that appear to observe rather than act. Entities described across multiple cultural traditions, including in Middle Eastern folklore, where similar beings are associated with jinn. Others think the figure is digitally added, pointing to the heavily edited sound design in the clip. But that repeating behavior, same location, same stance, appearing only in the dark, is exactly what makes it so hard to look away. I've watched this one more than once, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think is standing in that doorway? Like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video, because between the audio assault in the first clip and the silent, waiting figure in the second, whatever this is, it doesn't seem like it's done yet. In the following clip you're about to watch, a security camera captures a motorcyclist traveling along a quiet road in Mexico in the early hours of the morning. Just another commute? Nothing about it suggesting this would be anything other than an ordinary day. And then between one frame and the next, the motorcycle is down and the rider is gone. What draws people's attention isn't the crash itself, it's what appears near the wreckage afterward. A dark, humanoid shadow materializes at the scene, moves away from it with what looks like direction and purpose, travels several feet, and then simply isn't there anymore. Watch. Reports confirm one person died at that location. Viewers who slowed the footage down frame by frame were the first to notice it, and once you see it, it's difficult to look past. Skeptics point to compression artifacts and pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find human shapes in ambiguous visual information, and those are fair arguments for a lot of footage that circulates online. But artifacts don't move with consistent direction, and pareidolia doesn't produce a shape that appears specifically after a crash and disappears only after it has traveled a deliberate distance from the wreckage. In paranormal research, footage like this sits in one of the rarest and most debated categories. The possible capture of something departing a body at the moment of death, consciousness leaving in the only way it knows how, completely unaware that the body it just left behind isn't getting back up. That last part is what lingers, because whatever that shadow was, it moved away from the wreckage like someone who still had somewhere to be. So what do you think? Did that camera accidentally document the last moments of someone who had no idea it was their last day? In this next clip, we're following a man named Chris, a ghost hunter who had been hearing enough accounts about skinwalker activity in a specific area that he decided to go investigate it himself, equipment in hand, the kind of person who moves toward the thing everyone else is running from. He brings a spirit communication device with him, the kind that picks up and translates electromagnetic fluctuations into audible words. And what comes through on that device when he gets to the location stops him cold. Voices asking him to come help, drawing him further in with exactly the kind of appeal that's hardest to ignore and easiest to follow into somewhere you shouldn't be. Watch.
Yo. Hello? Did somebody just walk through there? Hey, if you're there, I'm not here. I'm just doing some ghost hunting stuff. Somebody just walked right through there. She will not.
My name is Fred.
Your name is Fred? Hi, Fred. Many years ago. Did you guys see that, or am I tripping? Say your name. My name is Chris. What's your name? What the fuck, bro? Okay. Help us talk? Okay. Holy shit. That door fucking opened. That door opened by itself. That door opened by itself. That fucking door opened by itself. What the fuck, bro? Oh no.
Hiding in the dark.
Hiding in the dark? The fucking door opened.
And then he runs. Whatever he sees in there overrides every instinct that brought him to that location in the first place. And Chris, a man who showed up to a skinwalker site on purpose with recording equipment at night, decides that whatever is happening is beyond what he came prepared for. Now here's what makes skinwalker encounters specifically so difficult to investigate and so hard to dismiss. In Navajo tradition, a skinwalker is not a ghost or a residual energy. It is an intelligent, shape-shifting entity that actively hunts, that learns the behavior and vocalizations of its targets, and that uses mimicry as a primary tool, replicating human voices, animal sounds, and cries of distress specifically to lure people toward it. The request to come help coming through that device fits that pattern almost precisely. Not a threat, not a warning, but an invitation wrapped in vulnerability. The exact kind of signal designed to pull someone deeper into isolated territory. What makes it worse is that skinwalkers across documented accounts are said to be most active at the threshold, doorways, tree lines, the edge of light and dark. And a door opening on its own, in that context, isn't a poltergeist moment. It's something marking a boundary and making clear it can cross it whenever it chooses. Chris came looking for a skinwalker. Based on what he ran from, it's worth asking whether it was already looking for him. So what do you think? Did Chris get closer to something real than any of his equipment was ever designed to handle? Or is there a less ancient explanation for what came through on that device? In this next clip, a security guard is doing his rounds inside a residential subdivision in Leon, Guanajuato. Gated community, empty houses. The kind of assignment where the biggest concern is usually staying awake through the quiet hours of the early morning. He's supposed to be completely alone, and then he starts hearing children. Not one child, not a sound that could be a television left on somewhere or an animal in the walls. Children, voices coming from inside an empty house during the early hours of the morning in a subdivision where no one should be present, let alone kids awake and making noise at that hour. He gets it on camera, and what he captured has been difficult for people to explain away. In paranormal research, the sound of children in locations where no children are present is one of the most consistently reported and most deeply unsettling categories of auditory phenomena, partly because of how specific and unmistakable the sound of a child's voice is, and partly because of what it implies about whatever is producing it. In Latin American folk tradition, disembodied children's voices heard in empty buildings during the early hours are frequently associated with the souls of children who died in or near that location, tied to the space and unable to move on, replaying fragments of a life that ended before it was finished. Others believe entities use the sound of children specifically because it triggers a protective instinct, drawing people toward the source rather than away from it, which in an empty subdivision in the middle of the night is exactly the kind of direction you don't want to be pulled. So what do you think? Was this guard hearing something that's been in that subdivision long before the houses were built? Or is there something in those empty rooms that learned a very long time ago exactly which sound gets people to come closer? In this next clip, Frank, a paranormal investigator who seeks out some of the most historically charged locations he can find, has made his way into an abandoned hospital with an incinerator room that already carries the kind of atmosphere that makes you want to keep your back to the wall. He's got a thermal camera with him, the kind that reads heat signatures rather than light. And what it picks up in that hallway is not something he was prepared to find. Watch.
Okay, and this is what the thermal camera sees. Can you peek at me one more time? Look at that. It just gets really blue, and that's a cold signature. Look at that. And then it goes away. I'm gonna try it again. Here we go. There we go. Are you the one that she was talking about? I swear if I see an actual face peek out through there, I might not be as brave. Look. Look at that. That is literally the corner of the... Oh my God. Alright, I'm gonna walk up towards it. I wanna make sure, bring up my brightness. This hospital is amazing. I am definitely gonna be back here. I haven't even shown you guys the crematorium. Now, the thing that gets me a little bit nervous about the crematorium is that, oh, it's sticky. This is what kind of sounded like the thumping sound. You can see how corroded this whole area is. And this is where it actually starts to stink a lot. And that's because of what they burnt down here as far as remains. But look at this. This is the cremation room. All right. So inside these things here, is where they would throw body parts, either children body parts or legs and arms, and they'll throw it into incineration. See? Incineration. And this is to see if it burnt up or not. Now the crazy thing is that there's ashes still inside. Look. Those are actual ashes. Oh, that's a big spider there. Oh, the creepiest thing happened. I was putting this down and it happened off camera. But the moment I put the the K2 down, I hear a big boom. I'm just hoping it happens again. You hear it? Let me make sure it's on. You hear that? Hello? What the hell is that? I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up. Hello? What the hell? Hello? Okay, that is creepy. Hello? Are you making noises? What the hell is that? Right now, you guys are inside. Listen. I'm trying to see if I could hear anything.
A thermal camera doesn't produce shapes from shadows or turn dust into figures. It reads temperature and temperature only, which is exactly what makes what Frank captured so difficult to dismiss. Something in that hallway is responding to him directly, and whatever it is, understands the difference between being watched and being ignored. In paranormal research, thermal anomalies that display humanoid form and respond to direct communication are considered some of the strongest indicators of an intelligent presence. Not residual energy running on a loop, but something that can hear and react in real time. Abandoned hospitals carry decades of fear, pain, and death concentrated within the same walls. The kind of accumulated weight that creates the exact conditions for a presence to form and sustain itself long after the building empties out. An incinerator room specifically carries a particular heaviness, given what those spaces were used for and what was lost inside them. Whatever Frank's thermal camera picked up in that hallway knew how to be seen and knew exactly when it wanted to disappear. So what do you think? Is this a former patient still wandering those corridors, or something that has been feeding off that building's energy for a very long time? In this next clip, a woman steps outside late at night to let her dog do its business. The most routine, unremarkable errand imaginable. The kind of thing you do half asleep without a second thought. And then something materializes out of thin air in the darkness ahead of her and starts moving in her direction. Watch. She doesn't hesitate. She's back inside that house before whatever it is can close the distance. And when the camera catches the spot where it was standing moments later, there's nothing there, gone as suddenly and completely as it appeared. leaving no trace of how it arrived or where it went. That specific combination, materialization from nothing, directional movement toward a person, and then a clean disappearance, is what separates this from a prowler or a trespasser, because a physical person doesn't appear out of empty air and doesn't vanish without moving out of frame. In paranormal research, entities that manifest suddenly in outdoor spaces and move toward a target before disappearing are often associated with what some traditions describe as a fetch or an approacher, a presence that becomes visible only when it has already decided to engage and disappears the moment its window closes. The fact that her dog was right there and the interaction happened that fast suggests whatever this was had been in that space before she stepped out, already present, already aware of her, just waiting for the right moment to show itself. So what do you think? Was something outside that house waiting for her specifically, or did she just step into the wrong patch of darkness at the wrong time? The following footage you're about to watch comes from a security camera at an airsoft site, one of those tactical recreation facilities that empties out completely after hours. At the very beginning of the first recording, a dark figure appears at the back right of the frame, not walking, but crawling or hobbling toward the wall, moving with a strange, uneven gait before appearing to strike the surface repeatedly. No one was at the site when this was captured. No employees, no trespassers on record. In the second clip, filmed months later, a man adjusts the camera, and if you look to the left of the man, you'll see a figure materialize on the left side of the frame. And this one carries a walking stick, hands visible, moving deliberately toward the camera's direction. Watch. The site owner swears there was absolutely no way another person could have been in that room with the man in the second video. Skeptics will point to the obvious explanations: a squatter seeking shelter, an animal moving strangely in infrared light, perhaps even deliberate staging for attention. These are reasonable positions, but viewers in the comments notice something else. In one clip, the figure appears to emerge from nowhere, materializing rather than entering the frame naturally. One commenter described the movement as fairly humanoid, noting it looked like something walking with a stick in a way that didn't match typical animal locomotion or human trespassing behavior. Abandoned recreational facilities don't carry the same historical weight as asylums or hospitals, but they accumulate something nonetheless. Years of adrenaline, competition, simulated conflict absorbed into the structure. So what do you think? Security glitch and trespassers caught at unfortunate angles? Or something at that airsoft site that refuses to leave even after the games have ended? In the following clip you're about to watch, a man had been letting his dogs out for the night. Completely routine, nothing unusual in the air, no reason to think twice about leaving a camera running in the bedroom. It was only when he reviewed the footage later that he noticed what had walked in after he left. Watch.
What you doing? That's my sock. Let go my sock. Have it. You guys wanna go pee-pee? Okay, let's go pee-pee. Come on, guys. Let's go.
In the doorway, a dark shadow figure moves into the room the moment it empties, and then, just after it passes, a picture on the wall begins to sway on its own, gently, but with enough movement to be unmistakable in a room where nothing else shifts. The man himself didn't notice the picture until someone in the comments pointed it out, which is somehow the most unsettling part. Whatever came through that doorway left a physical trace behind it that he didn't even know to look for. He posted the footage saying he'd always believed in ghosts, but had never seen anything that fully convinced him. He's convinced now. In paranormal research, shadow figures that move through domestic spaces are rarely classified as residual. Residual energy doesn't navigate doorways with intention, doesn't enter a room the moment it empties, doesn't disturb objects on its way through. What this footage appears to show is something that was waiting, something that knew when the room was clear, and something comfortable enough in that house to move through it openly the moment the opportunity presented itself. The picture swaying is the signature it left behind, proof that it wasn't just a trick of the light passing through, but something with enough physical presence to interact with the environment on its way in. And the dogs already knew. Weeks earlier, in January of 2008, he came home to find his dog Phoebe hiding under the bed, not startled by a noise outside, not reacting to another animal, but locked in place beneath the mattress with a low, steady growl aimed at something already inside the house. It took 45 minutes to coax her out, and even then, she lasted seconds before bolting back under. Then the bang started from the attic above.
Phoebe. Hey. Phoebe. Where are you, girl? Phoebe. Phoebe. Hey, what's the matter, girl? Come here. What's the matter? Are you okay? Come here. Come on up. Phoebe, come on. Hey. What's the matter? Hey, come here. Come on. It's okay. What's the matter, girl? Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on up. Want a treat? Come on. Come here, peeps. Want a treat? Phoebe, what's the matter, girl? What's the matter? You okay? What do you hear? What is it? What is it, girl? Come here. Phoebe, come here. You okay, girl? What's the matter? What's the matter, honey? Do you hear something? Phoebe? Honey? Are you okay? What the hell was that? What is that? Definitely something up here. What?
What follows in that attic is difficult to account for with any mundane explanation. The scale of the sound, the violence of it, the timing relative to Phoebe's distress, and the way it escalates all point towards something operating with intent rather than an animal that found its way into the roof space. Skeptics will reach for that explanation, and it's worth considering. But a raccoon doesn't send a dog into 45 minutes of paralyzed terror before the noise even starts. And it doesn't produce the kind of sustained, escalating chaos that fills that attic while the camera sits on the floor in the dark. In paranormal research, this pattern, an animal registering a presence before any physical activity begins, followed by increasingly aggressive physical disturbances, is one of the more consistent markers of poltergeist activity, an entity associated not with a specific location, but with raw, disruptive force that builds over time, using whatever the environment offers to make itself known, and growing bolder the longer it remains unaddressed. The third piece of footage was recorded on a static camera set up in the living room between March 3rd and March 14th of 2008, because he kept coming home to find his attic door wide open with no explanation. This is daytime, bright light through the curtains, completely silent, nothing that should put anyone on edge. And then the white door on the right side of the frame turns its knob on its own and swings inward.
Session of that performance of the Korngold Concerto. Just imagine the foot stomping from the members of the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra responding to that performance by James Ennis. Wow. That's from the CBC Records CD, which brought home a Grammy earlier this year.
When the dogs come back into the room, the white one stops in the center of the space and starts tracking something, head moving, eyes following, tilting up and down, as if watching something cross the room that the camera simply cannot pick up. It barks, it whines, it doesn't stop. A viewer put it simply in the comments. That dog was definitely looking at something. And they're right, because dogs don't perform, they don't follow invisible movement across a room for the benefit of a camera, they don't tilt their heads and bark at empty air because the lens is rolling. Whatever that dog was watching was real to it, present in that room, moving through a space that looked completely empty to everyone else. Whatever is in that house isn't confined to the attic or to the dark or to any particular hour, and the animals have been registering it long before any camera caught anything worth posting. So what do you think? Is this a single presence that has quietly claimed that house as its own? Or has something been following this man specifically, making itself comfortable wherever he is? In this next clip, a man who works at a large supermarket is still inside the store after closing hours, collecting carts, tidying the aisles, doing the kind of routine end-of-shift work that nobody thinks twice about. According to him, this wasn't the first unusual night. He says that for several nights leading up to this, he and other employees had been hearing sounds they couldn't explain and catching things moving in their peripheral vision, but nothing they could get on camera. On this particular night, he had his phone out and was filming as he pushed his cart through the aisles when something stopped him cold. Watch.
Y ya la neta, ya la tienda ya la están cerrando. De hecho, estamos recogiendo ya los carros, llenando todo lo que se quedó en los... ¿Qué me pasa? Mierda. Estoy viendo a un niño como jugando. Mira, ¿sí vieron? ¿Sí vieron? Y ya está, ya la tienda ya está cerrada. Ya, pues ya nada más estamos recogiendo lo de los pasillos. No mames. ¿Sí vieron? Vete a la mierda. Y ya está todo cerrado aquí. Me voy a acercar. Míralo, ahí está como que jugando. Está como que metiéndose entre los pasillos. No me quiero ni acercar, la neta me da un chingo de miedo, pero... Ay, güey, ¿qué hago? A ver, me voy por acá. Y es que ya no hay nada de gente, ni siquiera están sus padres, o sea, no hay literalmente nadie. Niño, ya cerraron la tienda, vámonos. ¿Estás perdido? Niño. No mames, ya no está. Niño. Niño. ¿Estás perdido? Y ya la neta, ya la tienda ya la están cerrando. De hecho, estamos recogiendo ya los carros, llenando todo lo que se quedó en los... ¿Cómo pasó? Mierda. A ver, ya tengo que acabar con esto, ¿Dónde se metió? Uy, ¿qué pedo? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Sí vieron? Ya no hay absolutamente nadie. No mames. Esto es en la tienda donde trabajo. Y bueno, eso es lo que pasa. La verdad es que ya van varias noches que se escuchan ruidos y se ven apariciones. Pero bueno.
Spanish that he's watching what looks like a child playing, and he calls out into the dark, asking if the child is lost, telling them the store is closed. Nothing answers. The crawling figure keeps moving. Some viewers believe this is the spirit of a child, a presence that has quietly claimed the store as its space, unbothered by closing time or the people left behind. Others point to the figure's movements and immediately think of something far less innocent, something that only looks like a child, a small thing that plays in empty aisles at night when most people have already gone home. So what exactly did he follow down that aisle?